also just in general, accessing information, for example, to the Atlanta Business League. I'm on the board of the Atlanta Business League, and I was the chairman for the finance committee person, treasurer for the Atlanta Business League for the last 14 years, as a matter of fact. So we have a good relationship with the programs they got. We want to tie into that. We have a relationship with people in the Chamber of Commerce. We want to tie you into that. We have relationships with a lot of developers that are taking place in development projects in the city of Atlanta area. We want to tie you into that. So it's all about tying you in, exposing you to possibilities, growth. The big thing now, looking forward, going into 2020, is the new Gauss development project, which was right off the downtown corridor between downtown and the West End, as a matter of fact. Norfolk Southern Railroad's train station areas. There are going to be 21 new streets created in that area in the city of Atlanta. It's going to be a lot of housing development taking place. It's going to be a lot of commercial development taking place. And our goal is to make sure that you are familiar with that structure. Now, my office at the Best Atlanta, we're at the forefront of dealing with a lot of contractual situations and commitments on behalf of the city of Atlanta. We also provided $200 million in financing for the Mercedes-Benz Stadium with the Falcons Way. Ma'am, question?
Yeah, what area are you talking about now, the new streets?
Yeah, it's going to, you know where the railroad station used to be downtown, Norfolk?
Yes.
Yeah, that whole area. If you look over there and look towards CNN, there's an underground.
Yes.
All of that is part of the new developments taking place. It's going to be over a 15-year period of time. $5 billion is going to be put, over $5 billion go into that corridor to make that happen. Yes.
Are we going to have the opportunity not just to be contractors but investors in this development?
Well, you already have someone who actually developing it. The city of Atlanta already signed a contract with a company to actually develop it, but that developer has to work with people and contractors to make that happen. So I'm saying, to the extent that maybe you can participate in terms of a development project or something you want to do in that area, I think that can happen. So part of the responsibility I know for the Best Atlanta is to make sure that minorities, especially African Americans, have an opportunity to take advantage of these opportunities. Okay, so we want to make sure that we as a community are familiar with that and we can access, you know. And let me say this, I would suggest you also, if you have a chance, to go to the website, Invest Atlanta, www.investatlanta.com. www.investatlanta.com. And what you see there is all the stuff that's going on, and I always encourage people to, all of our board meetings are open to the public. And so the best way to find out what's happening, what kind of contracts are being signed, that kind of thing, is number one, to attend the board meeting. But if you can't even attend the board meeting, you can go to that website and look on the board reports. And you have an idea of what has come before the board, the resolutions, the ordinances that might have been approved by our board, which kind of sets the foundation for what's going to happen. And then you also have an opportunity to meet some of the people who are actually going to be doing these development projects. So in other words, it's a matter of knowing who is at the table already, but also have an idea about what's projected ahead. So we have an opportunity now to make a difference in terms of being able to really take advantage of things. Sometimes we always find we driving around the city and we say, well, I wonder who's doing that, who did that, who did that. And we don't know because we had no participation in the beginning of it. And then when it goes up, it's already kind of been satisfied. But the thing is to know ahead of time what's scheduled. You know, just like the Beltline. The Beltline is a 25-year project. This is a 15-year of the Beltline. And the Beltline also originated out of Invest Atlanta about 15 years ago. Matter of fact, I think it was Georgia Tech student came up with the idea of it. But we have a lot of possibilities. That's somebody's hand went up. Yes.
Is it possible to develop an idea from a business plan without money if you don't have no startup capital, idea for a business plan? How is it possible to go from an idea?
Well, the reality is that every successful idea always, every successful project started first with an idea. All right? That's the starting point for every project that I'm familiar with. It was just an idea. You know, we came together over 30 years ago with the Islamic Association of Atlanta. That was the idea. We sat down together, you know, and so we talked about that, and the next thing I knew it was reality. So it starts with that. Now, as part of your solution, you have to identify what drives you to be able to complete that goal that you're after, that idea, is to realize what are the benefits to you. This is true for everybody too. You have a goal, and Sabrina's going to go into the goals of this organization today, but you have a goal. What drives you to stay focused and to achieve that goal is going to be your understanding of the benefits it's going to have for you, maybe your family, your community, you know, etc. And then you have to identify the obstacles. What is stopping you? Mentioned financing. What is stopping you now from reaching those goals of getting financing stability with your project? And so, after you do that, what's stopping you from being able to reach that goal? Those are obstacles. Then you got to identify the solutions. Now, one solution is going to be partnership. I think the purpose of this meeting today is to identify those people who have an interest in being involved with this program, this organization, in a manner that will allow you to grow and expand. And so in this case here, that's one of the solutions. How do you identify people that might want to help you? And that's where most people stop. Okay, but you got to have action. So the action is the reverse side of the page. When you have a time, hit the time to activate that process. You know, you got to start somewhere. So when do you start and when do you end each one of those examples? But that's you know, low analysis of how you would actually solve any kind of problem. So I'm just telling you that's where there's a blueprint for achieving anything you want to achieve. All we got to do is set in motion a process to be able to make that happen. And I kind of just hinted on that, what that process normally is. I don't care what the problem is. You're trying to get more money for yourself, you're trying to retire, you're trying to get some savings. My time is up. I got 2 more minutes. Okay,
New Africa website.
Oh yeah, I got cards on that. I may just pass that out to you.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
As our community, the Muslim American community that we have here in Atlanta, in the southeast part of Atlanta, the Atlanta Masjid, and haven't we been in the city or around in the city long enough as a community to have our own land development type of projects that being invited to get involved in? Is it possible for us to start having those kinds
Right,
of?
I know that Movement is working now like that too. They're working on a project. I'm not sure where it is right now, but it's a land development. Movement owns some property in the area. Master is located at. They're looking at doing some things in terms of that area. I know the Atlanta Master is going through a revitalization of our idea for community development, and there's a special committee set up at the Master that's kind of helping Atlanta Master kind of do that. So I think we're in a position right now through our existing leadership to be able to be more aware and put things in place. But the first thing, of course, is owning, is property ownership. And you look at Atlanta, there's a lot of gentrification taking place now in the city of Atlanta, definitely. I mean, all over Metro Atlanta, as a matter of fact, you know. But the foundation of all this gentrification and all that's going to happen is ownership of the property. I'm going to close by just saying that there was also a handout for a flyer about our next upcoming New African Association of Atlanta Quarterly meeting scheduled for January 25th. We're going to be honoring A.J. Hakeem Yamini as our award recipient. But David Hassan is coming all the way from North Carolina to be our featured guest speaker to update us on what's happening in the National Muslim Business Council, things they're doing, and how we can work together as a community to further expand some of the things that David has in mind.
But before you go, brother, I think we've lost the demand for jobs we got a lot of work sites, no black folks on it. That's very troubling. And we've missed, there used to be no jobs without some type of minority participation. Not necessarily on investment in, just a job. That's no more, I don't hear that as a demand anymore.
Well, right now, I think as long as you see the city of Atlanta controlling the airport.
That's the airport.
State. I'm just talking in general now, okay? But that's, the city of Atlanta itself has a policy still to support development projects, contracts around the city of Atlanta, where it's like 15% minorities, especially African American participation. So that's one of the keys, is that we have to take advantage of, whether it's, now, how many people here in business are certified? See, that's what I'm saying, so that's
Certified
the
as
thing.
what?
Certified to do business as a contractor or whatever you're gonna be doing.
How many certified to work? Not me.
That's well,
That's cool, that, no argument.
for what I'm trying to make is that I've done, okay, I gotta get mine. We can talk later on, we can talk later on.
Thank you, Rebecca. What we're going to do is, we're going to have a panel discussion after we have finished. So we'll open up a Q&A for everyone to answer any questions that they have, and they can pinpoint who they want to direct those questions to and get a little bit more clarity. And we're going to address several issues today. We're going to address business development. We're going to address jobs for people who want to work. The adults, the individuals that we are dealing with as far as our youth are concerned. We're going to have a whole lot of things that we're going to discuss today. First of all, I'd like to bring up our next speaker. This is a young man who's doing a lot of good things that's going to be a great benefit to our whole organization. His name is Richard Randolph. Richard, if you could come up, please. Just discussing things.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. We got about 5 more minutes of that. So, I'd like to thank everyone for giving me this opportunity to speak. I also like to thank Azim. I guess I would be remiss if I did not thank my uncle, my mom's oldest living brother, A.K. Sabir. So I really appreciate him for having me out. So I can remember back when I was a very, very, very small child, and Uncle Sabir would always be making money. I don't know how he did it. I don't know what he was doing, but I just know that he would always have a lot of money and a nice car, and he stayed sharp. Goodness gracious, he stayed in the suit. He stayed sharp just like he is today. He would walk in, and his presence would just captivate the entire room. And I used to say all the time, man, I would love to be like that when I grow up. I think we all wanted to be like that. All of our cousins and everybody wanted to be like him as we got older. And so what I started realizing was he seemed to always have the answer to a startup opportunity, right? If he wanted to start a business, he had the answer financially how to do it. I just heard someone ask a question a few minutes ago. Was that you, sir? Okay. And you said, how can one start a company or a business venture with no capital? Now, prior to about 5 or 6 years ago, my answer, had you asked me, would have been, you can't. It's impossible. But about 5 or 6 years ago, as I sharpened a few items on the skill set list, I was able to come up with a very unique way of funding and providing capital or capitalization for a business venture. Very unique. I got tired of shaking the tin cup. I got tired of going to Panera Bread, Starbucks, and sitting down at your house and asking you for money, hard-earned dollars that you worked for over the course of the last 30 years. I didn't want to ask you to go into your Roth IRA. I didn't want to ask you to go into your 401k. I didn't want to ask you to get permission from your wife, get permission from your husband, pray about it. I didn't want to ask you to do those things. I wanted you to simply give me capital so that I could start and launch this business. But I got tired of doing that. And I said, how can I create a method or a mechanism where I can capitalize any business venture that I desire? credit. Anybody know what credit is? Anybody in here use credit?
Yeah.
Okay. Credit is probably the strongest vehicle that you can possibly use to capitalize a business venture. Everyone from Donald Trump to Barack Obama, I want to do a really serious contrast there just to get your attention, right? Everyone in these United States of America that starts any type of capitalistic business venture on a highly successful level uses credit. You have consumer credit, you have business credit. What do I mean by that, dude? Do you mean just go and get a credit card and $10,000 limit? You know, open up the barbershop, is that what you're saying? Sure, you can do that. Or do I mean get a $250,000 line of capital or line of credit in order to fund a venture and take that $250,000 credit facility, leverage it, go to a hedge fund and ascertain $2 million? Which one am I referring to? Well, I'm referring to both. We came up with a very unique funding process where we can restore derogatory credit, right? Remove derogatory items off of your consumer credit report. Once we remove those derogatory items off of your consumer credit report, we procure you roughly $200,000 to $250,000 in credit facilities. These consist of personal credit cards, personal loans, and personal lines of credit. Then we turn around and we connect you with some of our hedge fund partners, private equity firms, and family offices that we do business with and have been doing business with over the past 10 years. And we put you through a business development program where we work with Dun & Bradstreet and Experian Business in order to build your creditworthiness for your business. Some of the industries that the hedge funds like or love would include logistics and transportation, infrastructure, and construction. If you're in those four, you're winning, right? There's a methodology behind the setup of these businesses. We've kind of learned that over the years, and I like to say perfected it, but we're still working out maybe one or two kinks, but it's pretty much perfected. Just like with personal credit, there's a credit score. 850 is the highest that you can go in personal credit or consumer credit. On the business side, the highest that a Paydex score goes is 80. Every business that has a Paydex score of 72 and above, that's the same or equivalent as having a 720, 740 consumer credit score, okay? So what we do is we make sure that your consumer credit scores are 720 and above, and we make sure that your business credit scores are 72 to 80 or 72 and above. And this affords you the opportunity to go and seek credit facilities, which we help you with that application process. All right? Seek these credit facilities for the purposes of doing what? Starting your business. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? I know
Give me
somebody
those
has a
things.
question.
Logistics, transportation, and what infrastructure? What was the other one?
Logistics, transportation, and infrastructure within the industry of construction.
Okay.
Bridges, roads,
Right.
things of that nature. DOT. Yes, sir.
You mentioned a term regarding business scoring, and ADEX or KDEX, what was it?
A Paydex score.
Is that PAYDEX?
Yes.
PAY.
DEX. Yep. This is done through Dun & Bradstreet. DMB. I remember when I first encountered Dun & Bradstreet about 15 years ago. They called me, they asked to open up an account, I told them no. They called me again, I said no. They called me probably 20 times over the course of the first 5 years of me doing business, and I said no every single time. I was ignorant, I didn't know any better. And as I accumulated the skill set and the knowledge that I currently have, that's when I realized, wow, had I established a Dun & Bradstreet account 15 years ago, I'd be much further along. Okay. So, now that I got your attention, go ahead, sir.
Who is the we? You say we have. What do you represent?
Great question. I'm about to answer that question for you. I am a native of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm 39 years old. Azim said young man, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Born and raised right here. Went off, played a little ball at the University of Alabama, played a little minor league baseball, came back home in 2003 and started fixing and flipping properties. I flipped right under 200 properties, roughly 198 properties in metro Atlanta, Georgia. All right, mostly residential, single family residential, a couple multifamily units, duplex, quads, things of that nature. We grossed $25 million, myself and a business partner grossed $25 million before the age of 27. And then the recession hit. Anybody remember the recession?
Yeah.
I remember the recession. The recession was rough. But the recession tore me up because my entire business, my entire portfolio was real estate based. And since I was not accumulating any assets, I was only fixing and flipping property. That means I had a constant flow of non-performing assets that I was selling. And the only assets that I was accumulating was liquid cash or fiat currency. Okay? Which could be a good thing if it's millions of dollars, but if it's not, then you don't have any tangible assets to leverage. And leverage is the name of the game.
Richard, you weren't renting out any properties, in other words, right?
No, sir.
Or leasing.
I was not implementing a buy and hold strategy.
Right.
Right? This was a fix and flip strategy.
Yeah, that was me too.
Right. And I thought I was
Same
intelligent.
thing.
I said I must be doing something right. I'm making a lot of money until the bottom fell out. Right? Stocks are low, everything's low, if we had the capital and we would have conserved that capital, or we had a method or a vehicle to capitalize the proper venture, we could have bought everything and owned it all. That's what the banks did, that's what the hedge funds did, the private equity groups did, and the high net worth individuals did. Unfortunately, they weren't any minorities doing it, right? But they knew something that we didn't at that time, and that's the power of credit, consumer and business credit. So once that market tanked and I lost everything, my credit score tanked right along with it. Okay? And so I had to figure something out. It took me about 2 years, but eventually I said, I think the answer might be consumer credit. And so I was able to take my credit score from 515, 480, 490, those three scores.
That sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar? I was able to take my credit scores from the three major credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, and take them from 400, 500 scores to 740, 760 scores in a matter of weeks. Everybody, turn around that way. Just do me a favor, turn around that way. Raise your hand if you have participated in this program and you've seen your scores go up at all. Okay, put your hands down. Now, that's only because those are the only individuals that knew about this. Now you guys are finding out about this, right? On average, we're able to get a point increase. We, levelup700.com. Level up 700, the number, the numerical character 700. Levelup700.com. On average, we're able to take a credit score, a consumer credit score from anywhere, 400s, 500s, we're able to get a 200 to 250 point increase within about 60 days, calendar days. So your whole life, right? Your entire adult life, you could have had bad credit. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and in 60 days, we can help you to start dreaming again.
How much does this service cost?
The service is a very nominal fee. It's a good question. It's $1,500, one-time fee, upfront, $1,500 fee. And I always ask individuals, how much does it cost you not to engage us and pay for this service? How much in interest? How many business deals did you miss? Did you get that house? Were you able to get finance for the car? How much did you have to bring down? Are you able to sign and drive? Our clients pay a very nominal one-time fee of $1,500. And after that nominal fee is paid, Roughly 60 days later, your credit is restored. We don't stop there. We take you to our partnering company, ZenithFundingLLC.com. ZENITH, fundingllc.com. And we send you through what we call a funding process. We give you a funding schedule. That schedule usually consists of a 2 to 3 week program that gets you up to $250,000 in capital. Credit facilities. Okay? Yes, sir.
What is the success rate? What is your success rate in this?
If you do what we instruct you to do, we've had two, I'd be lying if I say 0. We've had 2 individuals that have not had success in our program. One of those individuals took it upon themselves to break protocol and kind of do some things that they were advised not to do. The other individual did the same thing, but he did it after his credit was restored, and he went and applied on his own. We can't force you to apply, use our funding team to apply. You can apply if you would like to on your own. However, we encourage you to use our funding team to apply, because I guarantee you, if you apply on your own, you're probably going to get somewhere between $35,000 and $45,000 at the most. We use a very strategic map to do our applications and our funding schedule to where we make sure that those approvals come up to $250K on the consumer side. Okay? Yes, sir.
How effective is this program, the 60 days, on taking care of foreclosures and bankruptcies?
That's a great question. Anything that gets placed on your consumer credit profile, anything, we can remove it. We have the capability of legally removing it. Now, that's with Experian, that's with TransUnion, and that's with Equifax. We also have the capability of removing you out of early warning system, which is formerly known as check systems. If you can't open up a bank account, you've had some issues with personal bank accounts in the past, we can remove you out of check systems, so it's called early warning systems now. And then very popular with banks and creditors is LexisNexis. Anybody ever familiar with LexisNexis? Mm-hmm. So LexisNexis keeps a record of all of your public records, addresses, AKAs, social security numbers if you had to change it, driver's licenses, where you've been licensed at, but more importantly, public records with regards to liens, judgments, repossessions, foreclosures. So you can remove everything off of your credit profile, and the bank still will say, oh, we see a foreclosure here. And you're looking on your credit profile like, I don't see a foreclosure, or even though you know you have one. But where is it on here? I don't see the bankruptcy or the foreclosure. I don't see it, but they pull LexisNexis. And they've been able to pull it from the public records on that end. So we can also dispute LexisNexis and clean that up as well. LexisNexis, Innovis, and SageStream are 3 ancillary, excuse me, I have a little congestion, 3 ancillary credit bureaus that work simultaneously or parallel to the major 3 bureaus, okay? But we also can dispute those as well. But our fee for $1,500 includes the 3 major bureaus only, okay? So, I'd say maybe our success rate is probably close to 98%, 99%, as long as you follow. The only ones that are not successful is when you don't tell us everything. You know, you have 5 collections on your credit report already, and you know that medical bill is coming up, and you don't say anything to us about it. Mm-hmm. And then it pops on after the other 5 items have been deleted. That's when it poses a problem, because we have to go back and redispute all 3 bureaus again. And that's an extra fee. So sometimes people don't have those fees.
So the second part of that was within that 60-day window.
Yes.
That's effective.
Yeah, we're usually pretty accurate with the 60 days. The only time it takes maybe a week or 2 afterwards is if we have an influx of clients that come in. Like now. New Year's resolutions, tax refunds, things of that nature. So we get an influx of clients that come in, and then they turn around, and you know we're pushing the 60-day time frame, 70 days max, that type of thing. But we're usually falling within that. On the business side, that's a $15,000 fee. We usually take about 2 to 3 business clients every month at a $15,000 fee. It takes 120 days to facilitate that process, and Typically though, what happens is a consumer goes through our process at 1,500 and then they get funded and then they pull out 15,000 and pay for the business side and then they get funded.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Makes sense.
Time up already? I'm up already. So, again, my name is Richard Randolph. I'm with Level Up 700. You can go to levelup700.com. I don't have any cards on me, but I will be taking some information back, or I can give you my information as well. So, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all today. Thank you so much, and I look forward to doing business with you in the near future.
Thank you.
Good presentation.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay, now, Richard is a part of the organization that we've got here. You'll have access to all these resources if you decide you want to be a part of what we're trying to do. We're going to have a Q&A. You can ask all the questions that you would like to have during the course of that Q&A. We'll do a break in about maybe 15 minutes from now. I'd like to bring up the next speaker. He's going to tell you a little bit about some of the investments that we're dealing with right now in Birmingham, Alabama. This is going to be Brother Marcus Spear. Come up, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
My name is Marcus Sabir, and I've been in Atlanta Masjid for about 40 years. And working with, I don't know what everybody know about American Well Builders. And really, American Well Builders started several years ago. And as everybody know, AK Sabir, was introducing American Well Builders to everyone, okay? But we got together last year, and a group of us said, why don't we now put some things in motion? We talk about a lot of things all the time, but we never put anything in motion in regards to how we can get together as an organization in regards to showing people what we're doing, how we're doing it, and make it where that anyone can connect to it. That means anyone within American Well Builders. Again, AK is going to explain how American Well Builders, how you can get connected to that. That means everybody that have a business, you can get connected to American Well Builders, okay? So the group of us, the 5 of us, already was a part of American Well Builders, said, we'd like to invest in some real estate. Where can we invest in real estate? We know Atlanta is where is our home. And we know the real estate value in Atlanta is going up, 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 and up. If anybody don't know it, that's what it is, okay? So we looked at some areas in a different city, and that was Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham, Alabama, which is 2